Alrighty, guys, what we're going to go on now is the next segment, which is Table Talk with John Brzenk. Table Talk with John Brzenk is brought to you by none other than Combat Arms Sports. These guys are makers of probably the best tables out of the USA, so check them out, combatarmsports.com. Alrighty, John, what are we talking about on Table Talk today?
Well, I get people asking me all the time, what's the best exercise for arm wrestling? So I thought I'd throw out a little advice about my thoughts on what the best exercise is.
Awesome, let's do it.
Okay, today I wanted to go over some of the best exercises for the sport of arm wrestling. I get this asked of me quite often, what's the best exercise to do this, that, and the other? And my answer has pretty much been the same for the last 20 years. In my opinion, the best exercise you can do for yourself to become a great arm wrestler is to get with a group of other arm wrestlers that train once a week, at least once a week, and work all your different angles on the arm wrestling table. Why do I believe this? Well, because weights are very one-dimensional. They use, obviously, gravity, and arm wrestling is a very unnatural movement. It's a sideways direction that very little gravity is involved. It's trying to pull your opponent not only across the table sideways, but also pulling on their bicep down in the offensive position. And a lot of manipulation with the hand and wrist, obviously, that you can't possibly achieve with weights. So, my opinion, arm wrestle, heal yourself up so you can pull as hard as you can on the table once a week. Yes, weights are good for you to a certain extent, in my opinion. Use them to help heal, help get the blood flow going, but don't use weights if they're gonna cause your arm wrestling workouts to suffer. Arm wrestling should be the focus, and pulling hard in different directions. So yes, more arm wrestlers on your squad or on your team or on your workout group, the better arm wrestler you're gonna be, because you're gonna obviously face all kinds of different types of body types and different arms. So you need to be very aggressive, warm up well before the practice starts, and be very aggressive. It's like doing a heavy max lift in the weight, if you wanted to compare it to that. So you should be very aggressive for your first couple of matches, high stress, and then you can kind of taper down from there after you do that. And work all the different angles. I mean, it's one thing to be great at something and you like to beat your opponent or your practice partner, but work all the different angles. You know, practice typically lasts an hour and a half, 2 hours, so you have the ability to work all the different angles. So I hope that helps, and we'll see you next week.
Alrighty, guys, back from Table Talk with John Brzenk. I couldn't agree more. Table time for me has been the benchmark for my training, and it's where I feel I get best value out of everything that I'm doing as well. Sometimes you obviously can't get it, so you try to replicate in the gym, but table time, I think, yeah, I agree entirely, John, very much.
Yeah, it's a shame we can't really do some real-time testing. You know, some people just completely, well, obviously no one's going to just completely be a weightlifter, because that's for sure a no-brainer that you wouldn't become an arm wrestler no matter how much weight you're lifting, because weightlifters can't arm wrestle. So my view is that really the key to becoming a successful arm wrestler is having a good group of guys and pulling hard with all different types of arms.
Yeah, I find it so interesting about this sport that you find it difficult to track your progress in a strength sense, like, because it's not entirely a strength sport. It's very much a combat sport as well. It's so dependent upon how your opponent is moving and whatnot. So you get it's difficult to know exactly how much strength gain you've made in a year or in 5 years, and
right.
It's confusing sometimes to know. Like, you see newcomers start to doubt whether they're actually making any progress at all, but you got to remember that everyone's progressing together, and
right. Yeah. And it's not immediate with arm wrestling. Arm wrestling, you could be pulling hard for weeks and months, and that benefit's not going to show itself for another year. So it's not like weightlifting. It's not muscle bellies. It's more about the connective tissue and the tendons and just that whole structure of skeletal structure. And it's a process, and you have to trust it. I mean,